I have. If you spool back, you'll find out the conversation. Yes. Bit of headwind as well.
Yeah, and with that headwind, it'll take it down. But despite there being a 25k/h headwind, just look at how much pace there is. Mullen on the front. This is a man that can deliver long pulls on the front at a high pace. And then this is Ida Schelling coming through. Very good climber, in fact. Lost a bit of time on the GC, but he's going to be a very important rider for Harold Tejada of XDS Astana. They've got 3 riders in this front group, so good riding by the Astana squad. But the men who've played so far an absolute blinder, and on the front is Casper Pedersen, really injecting some proper pace. Soudal Quickstep have absolutely nailed it today, haven't they? Stuck it in the gutter, along with primarily Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe and also Team Jayco Alula with Max Valscheid. And they're still continuing to ride because they have a good chance of putting their young Belgian protege up deep into the top 10, and there is the climb, just looming. If you look really closely, there it is, directly in front.
It's not a cloud.
It's not a cloud. It is a rather big lump of rock.
Oh, it really is a spectacular sight.
It's amazing from the top, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, and it's so tall. You think it's actually nearer than it actually is. We've still got a way to go before we get there. It really defines the landscape here. Of course, the rest of the landscape used to be at that level and has been whittled away by the wind, leaving us with this amazing edifice, which is just looks like it's been thrown up out of the earth. But in fact, everything was level with the top of it at one time and has now gone.
Blimey, that is amazing, isn't it? That really is. Now, if you're ever in this neck of the woods, I've been here a few times. Just the view from the top is something else. It really, really is. You can see for absolute miles. Yeah, it's an impressive, desolate, stark, yet quite beautiful place.
An Englishman in a spin says, you two, you peas in a pod, he said, come from the school of knowing stuff.
We know bits. We do know bits. Well, you've been around a bit, but our collective age is triple figures. let's be honest. So let's be clear there. We've accumulated.
We've been around the block.
Some random facts.
More than a couple of times.
We've accumulated some random facts over the years.
We know how to calm an antsy camel. This man, I'm afraid, Lenny van Eetveld, he let it get away from him, didn't he?
Yeah.
He had his feet in the stirrups, but the reins had gone, and I'm afraid that he didn't mark out the move of Tadej Pogačar and others, and has found himself. He doesn't want the camera around him. He's found himself in the group that isn't.
It's a really difficult one. His team are still riding on the front to try and mitigate. Tudor Pro Cycling are there as well. Team Picnic won't. That's Jakobsen, Fabio Jakobsen, just blocking really, because they've got their leader, who I think is going to do a corker of a ride today. I really feel that Oscar Onley could do something quite special today. He sits in 10th. Very good climber, finished off, can sprint well as well from a group. So in terms of time bonuses on offer, let's assume, and I know we shouldn't, but we'll almost have to, unless something extraordinary happens, Tadej Pogačar should win this one. It's difficult to see past him, and actually predicting anything else I think is folly. The only thing that can derail Tadej Pogačar is bad luck. But what Oscar Onley has is a real burst of pace at the end and can function well on a climb like this, as we see that very man on the front now. He'll be feeling confident. When isn't he confident? Yeah, still that chase from behind, but it's drifting out now to 2:47. But yeah, Lennart van Eetveld, he'll learn. He's only a young rider. He burst onto the scene. He can't get everything right, you know. It's and we saw how hard that was. He will be disappointed. There will be a little bit of a debrief. But he's still very young, still only 23 years of age, has got a lot to learn, and today was a big learning curve. I'm sure he'll be able to pick up a few places on the climb, so that's why they're continuing to ride, is to try and mitigate, because I would say 80% of this group will probably fall back, because it's mostly sprinters and rouleurs, as well as GC riders who are investing now. They'll pull the pin on the climb, those that don't ride deeply into the as deep into the climb as they can. So there is a chance to salvage a top 10 spot for some of the riders here. because the vast majority in this group, despite having nearly 3 minutes by the bottom, won't sustain that pace on the climb itself, and that's why they're continuing to ride behind. Out of respect for the race as well.
Yeah.
So fair play for Lotto. The heads aren't bowed,
No.
they're doing what they can, they've missed
Exactly
out,
that.
but they'll learn and move on, and there'll be other success, but unfortunately today it's eluded him.
Afraid so. You'd be a fly on the wall, wouldn't you, that debrief at the end of today? What went wrong? I mean, you could say he deserves to hold on to his briefs. He's got an awful lot, of course, ahead of him in terms of his career. He's a brilliant rider, defending champion here. Just missed it today. These things happen.
Yeah, exactly. It does happen, and he does look a little bit frustrated and disappointed.
Yeah.
The thing is, he's got good legs, but if you're in the wrong place when the hammer goes down in some of the most, I think it's fair to
Just
say,
be back at the car.
even when you
just never know.
when you compare, there's a lot of comparisons between racing and
I'm liking this
he's
man.
chipper, isn't he? He is chipper, isn't he?
80-1 at the beginning of the day, Mr. Romero. Well, if he gets a podium today, he's going to cause a couple of curly smiles. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
he's got a wonderful grin himself, hasn't he? He's very free with his emotions.
We're getting to know Ivan Romeo very well now.
We like him
and
a
he's
lot.
there you go. There's some information. Josh Tolling and Ivan Romeo, second and third in the GC. Both 21.
Yeah, exactly. Could become the youngest winner of the UAE Tour. That's a tall order. We've got Tadej Pogacar here as well. But yeah, to win the Tour, I think is a tall order. But nonetheless, at the moment, Tadej Pogacar won it at 22 years and 5 months and 6 days in 2021. You forget just how young he is and how much still lies ahead of him.
Yeah, he's incredible, isn't he?
Yeah.
He really is an absolute cycling phenomenon. A rare physical specimen. The sort of just what he can sustain, what he can do, his versatility, his tolerance. He is a different sort of level, and that's been widely acknowledged by all of his peers. He really is something quite special. And this man is just having fun. There you go. I think that the man in front, of course, is Tadej Pogacar. I think he could do with a bungee to latch on and maybe haul himself up the vast majority of the climb. That's what he'd like. But he's going to relish the opportunity to go toe to toe with Tadej Pogacar and the rest. It's going to be a proper battle for the other placings on the podium. Like I said, unless something extraordinary happens to Tadej Pogacar, the likes of Finn Fisher-Black, these young bucks coming up through the ranks over the last couple of years, have now been given a real opportunity to do something pretty special today. And right now, Romeo looks like he's riding without any pressure at all. He can just get out there, go as deep as he can, have fun, and race his bike.
Let's do this, shall we? Under 20 Ks to go.
The party's only just started. 10 Premier League matches on TNT Sport.